Guys, this is Ali and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In case you like books and like me, make sure that you are subscribed to my channel because I post new videos every week and you'll definitely find some great reads if you stay tuned. Now this video is one of the most highly requested videos that I've ever got requests for. Ever since I started my channel, people were like, what are your favorite Indian books? What are your favorite Indian books? And I'm like, okay, I've not really read a lot of Indian books, so I cannot really pass my judgment. But in the past year, I started reading Indian books specifically, and I have read quite a few of them. And these 10 books, according to me, were the best Indian books that I've ever read. Note that this video is going to be highly subjective. Something that I like may not be liked by you. Something that I dislike may be loved by you. So please do not hog after me after that. It's just my opinions and I think we should all respect each other's opinions. So yeah, here's my list of the top 10 books by Indian authors that are my absolute favorites. Now if you have been following my channel for some time, then this will be no surprise to you. My top favorite Indian book is The Namesake by Jhumpa Lahiri. Now again, a lot of people don't consider Jhumpa Lahiri as Indian and I don't know why. She's absolutely Indian and her books have this Indian touch, specifically the Bengali touch, which just touches my heart. And her writing style is beautiful. Now The Namesake is about a boy who is named Gogol and he's growing up in America with a name like Gogol Ganguly and everybody makes fun of him. Eventually he goes on to change his name, but soon he realizes that he made a big mistake and his realization is probably one of the best moments in this story. I also love how Jhumpa Lahiri has spoken about Nikolai Gogol. He's one of the best short story writers that I've ever come across. And I came across Nikolai Gogol only because I had read this book. So yeah, thank you Jhumpa Lahiri. I plan to read Jhumpa Lahiri's The Lowland next week. The second will be Khushwant Singh's Train to Pakistan. This book was one hell of a read. It's a really easy read. It's just about 200 pages, barely 200 pages, and it's absolutely beautiful. Now, I have a review of this book on my channel. I'll link it down in the description below. The thing is, when I came across Khushwant Singh, I did not have the opportunity to read his book because I came across him through a project, and the project included everything except reading the original book. So yeah, that was kind of weird, but eventually I went on and read Train to Pakistan, and as soon as I read it, I was like, okay, that man is great. Now, a lot of people do not like Khushwant Singh's Train to Pakistan or Khushwant Singh in general, but I really do, and I think everybody should at least read him in their lifetime. The third will be Ruskin Bond's Time Stops at Shamli. Now, I do not have a copy of Time Stops at Shamli individually. It's in this collection of novellas called Unhurried Tales. It was published, I think, a couple of months back, and you should definitely grab this book because there are so many novellas in this book. In case you like to read Ruskin Bond or novellas, this book will provide you with so many novellas at one place that it proves to be very helpful. Now, Time Stops at Shamli is about this narrator who goes and meets his long-lost lover, and he's waiting for her for a long time, but she's already married. And I really underestimated Ruskin Bond when I read The Seven Husbands of Susanna, but when I read this book, I was like, no, that man has to be my favorite now because Time Stops at Shamli just changed my views on Ruskin Bond. The next will be Amitav Ghosh, The Shadow Lines. Now, this book got me a bit confused when I read it for the first time because there are these parts of the narrator's life which have not been really segregated. They just merge and you don't know what's his age in the chapters that continue over 300 pages. And the thing is, when a novel is written in such a format, it gets really difficult to read if you are not concentrated completely. So the first time I started reading The Shadow Lines, I could not read it. But I picked this book up 1 or 2 months back again and I started reading it slowly, and then I understood this book and I really liked it. Now, if you're thinking what the shadow lines mean, shadow lines refer to the shadowing lines, that is the borders. So basically the borders aren't there, it's just in your mind, and that's such a great concept. When I read the title, I could not have guessed that the shadow lines meant that. But as I proceeded, especially I love the character of Tridib, who sacrifices for his love May in the communal riots, and I was absolutely shocked because whenever I read stories from the partition, I feel extremely moved thinking how people sacrificed their lives for their families and lovers, and it's just too painful. It was absolutely unnecessary that so many people had to go through that. Now, I do not have a copy of this book, but Anita Desai's Fire on the Mountain is absolutely a must read for everyone. It's about this old woman called Nanda Kaul who's living alone in a home. Now, she wants to live absolutely alone, away from everyone, to live peacefully after spending so many years doing her duties. But suddenly her great granddaughter's duty comes on her. Now, initially she is not really happy with it. She wants her great granddaughter to be gone. She does not really behave well with her great granddaughter. But eventually, Nanda Kaul finds her own reflection in her granddaughter, and I absolutely loved that. And the ending of this book is absolutely shocking. So if you plan to pick this book up, get ready for it, because when I read the ending, I was crying for like hours. The book is not really fat. It's only like 150 or 170 pages. So it's a really easy read and it's a really must read. So make sure you read it. The sixth will be Midnight's Children by Salman Rushdie. Now, I have mixed feelings about this book. This book really got a bit draggy at times, but the thing is, the concept is absolutely beautiful. It's post-colonial literature with magical realism. And in case you do not know magical realism, it's a genre where things are magical but they are actually an allegory. One of the greatest writers of magical realism is Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I think you should read him if you like to read that genre. Midnight's Children is about these people who are born at the stroke of midnight on the Independence Day of India, and they have these powers, these special powers, and the protagonist in the story is Salim Sinai. Now, Salim starts uniting the people who are Midnight's children, and he realizes that the people who are born closer to the midnight, so the powers are for the children who were born between 12 to 1 at midnight when India got independence. I really loved the theme, but I also felt that the book could have had a better concrete ending. But I guess these are the kinds of books that just leave you wondering what was this, what was that. So when you pick this book up, do not think that you will be able to understand everything. In fact, it's very normal if you cannot understand quite a few things. And I think that's the flavor of a book. You cannot just dissect it like a mathematical sum. It's absolutely personal, and that's why books become so close to your heart. The seventh will be R.K. Narayan's The English Teacher. I read this book about a couple of years back, and I hope I remember it well. So it's about this man who is living with his daughter after his wife's death, and it's so poignant. The life of a teacher in those days was really tough. They did not get enough payment, but they had a lot of problems. At the same time, there was workload and they couldn't really live with their families all the time, and that has been brought out so well in R.K. Narayan's book. Now, I have not really read the guide, and I'm pretty sure when I read the guide or the Malgudi Days, the English Teacher might be supplanted, but I really don't want it to, because I loved this book so much and I think everybody should read this. The language is beautiful, it's simple but beautiful at the same time, and that's really rare. Moving on, the eighth book that I think everybody should read is The God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy. Now, this book is highly controversial. In fact, I have a controversy in my own mind about whether I like this book or I don't. But I think that's how books should make you feel. Now, it made me really uncomfortable. This book is about twins, Estha and Rahel, and I really do not want to tell you guys anything more about this book because you guys need to read this book to understand. This book compels you to think, who are we to decide whom we should love and not love? And that is a very legit question, and I do not really have an answer to that. Again, I do not have a copy of this book, but it was one of my favorites. It's Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni's The Mistress of Spices. Now, there is this woman who can speak to spices, and these spices make magic happen, which was like a really amazing concept. You should absolutely read this book for the flavor of it because it really has the spices in it, and it was made into a movie which starred Aishwarya Rai. I have watched the movie, even though the movie is not even half as great as the book, but you can try watching the movie as well because Aishwarya Rai, I really like her. I really like Aishwarya Rai. Now, the thing is, the mistress of spices has to be loyal to the spices. Now, she cannot love any other man in her life. If she does, then the spices will curse her. And I absolutely love how magical that book was. I absolutely forgot about my surroundings when I was reading that book, and I think Chitra Banerjee Divakaruni's books all have this absolute magic. I have not read any other work by her yet. That's really sad, but my friends have read and they told me so, and I believe in them. I am planning to read Before We Visit the Goddess next, but I guess The Palace of Illusions will also be a good continuation to this one. And the last but not the least will be Joda Shako by Aruna Chakravarti. Now, I am a Bengali, and Joda Shako is about the women in the house of Rabindranath Tagore. I hope you guys know who Rabindranath Tagore is, but in case you don't, just in case, and I don't think that's going to be the case, but still, I'll just let you know. Rabindranath Tagore is the man who has written the national anthem. And the thing is, Bengalis are crazy about him, inclusive of me. He has written some amazing books with so many great feelings, but his own life was no less than a book. He was in love with his sister-in-law, that is his Bodhi. And the thing is, it was kind of a platonic love. Now, not much is known today, but she committed suicide, and then he went on and married another woman. But the thing is, his love for his Bodhi was something that has been the talk of households in Bengal. It's absolutely amazing to read that in a book. I think everybody should pick this book up. So I think in case you are Bengali, this book is definitely a must read for you. But even if you aren't, give this book a try. So these were my absolute favorite Indian books by Indian authors. Now, I want to know which books by Indian authors are your favorites, so that when I make a second version of this video, I make sure to include them. And so you should definitely drop your comments about your favorite books in the comment box below. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. And in case you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Go subscribe, because I post every week. And in case you like me and my videos, make sure you follow me on my social media. All my social media handles are @TheHeliblog, and I post there every day. Until my next video, bye bye.